Hi, this is Prac with iRepairMD, and today I will be showing you guys how to replace a battery on an iPod 7th generation, iPod Nano 7th Gen. And went ahead and got a battery from Amazon for $8. And this iPod Nano, the battery should last a while, but again, you can see the size of this battery. So after a few years of having it, it no longer works. And if you read up on the news on Apple, they're trying to discontinue the whole iPod Nano. And for you guys who actually do a lot of running, you know, that's a major setback. So you're gonna try to make this Nano work for as long as you can, because if Apple have their way, I think they're gonna get rid of the whole product line. So this is how, if you have an issue with your battery being draining, okay, so the tools that you're gonna need would be a spudger tool. You will need a tweezer, small Phillips screwdriver, and a razor blade, heat gun, and for this particular one, you're gonna need a soldering iron too. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is actually heat. We need to access this back right here, and this is the back entry, and underneath it is a Bluetooth antenna. So let's go ahead and add some heat. So slowly remove it. So we add enough heat so it'll loosen the adhesive. That's what we're trying to do, is loosen the adhesive. All right, this is hot enough. Got enough heat on it. Let's go ahead and use the razor blade. We're going to slowly lift up the back access panel. Just pick it up slowly. Okay, once you have it lift, use a spudger tool just to run it back and forth. Open up slowly. What you don't want to damage is the antenna cable underneath. Okay, you can see right here, you can see underneath the antenna is right here. So what we want to do is actually free the antenna from this back entry. Okay, we have this open up. So what we have now is the Phillips screwdriver. Let's go ahead and take the screwdriver out. Okay. Use a tweezer and remove the screw. Okay, put this in a safe place. Now we're going to slowly lift the antenna cable up like this. Okay, so the antenna, the connection is right here, so you don't want to lift it completely. The Bluetooth antenna makes connection to the logic board this way. You see underneath, you're going to see two Phillips screw. So let's go ahead and undo that. Take the Phillips screw out. Okay. It helps to have a magnetic screwdriver, like I have now. These screws are extremely small, so if you work in a carpet environment, once you drop it, you're pretty much out. You're pretty much down the screw. Okay. So now, what we need to do is actually add heat to loosen up the LCD. Okay. So add just enough heat to loosen up the glue. All right, you don't want to add too much heat that will damage the LCD underneath, but enough that it'll weaken the glue and allows you to lift up the screen. All right, so now once you get that, we need to lift this up, and we're going to start with the leading edge. What we're going to do is actually use a screwdriver, a razor blade to start off the lift, and then we're going to proceed to use the spudger tool. Okay, we can use the spudger tool around the frame. Lift it up like so. Okay, be very careful around the digitizer. You don't want to damage the digitizer in this process, because the objective is to lift the digitizer without damaging the LCD, and then just replace the battery by unsoldering the first connector and then resoldering it again. Okay, so what we have is we're gonna lift the adhesive off and slowly lift connector. Okay. Here we are right here. Okay. So now what we have is LCD underneath. So what we want to do is pick up the LCD. So you need to use the razor blade and release the clip that's on the side. Okay. Slowly lift the clip up. Okay, so once you pull out the digitizer and you use the razor blade to slowly lift the LCD, go ahead and pull it off. Right now, what you're gonna see are a series of connectors. Okay, so what we're going to do with these connectors is we're going to use the pry tool to go ahead and lift the LCD connector and the digitizer connector. This is the LCD connector. Lift it up. We're going to lift the digitizer connector up. Okay. And so right behind it, you can actually see the battery is loose and is attached to this. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and desolder this battery right here. All right, so we're gonna need to make sure the heat is, your soldering iron heat is up to 842 degrees Fahrenheit to loosen up. And once you get it that high, you're gonna need a tweezer. Okay. So we're gonna use a tweezer. We're gonna use the flux first. I'm gonna add a little solder flux to it. Alright, I'm going to put a little flux on here. I have to weaken up that. Now with the soldering iron, and go ahead and desolder this. Okay, what we're doing is removing the silicone covering, and then we'll slowly lift the battery. We have 3 connectors here for the lithium battery. We lift the closest one to us first, then proceed to lift the back. Okay, so now we got 3 battery connectors here. Let's go ahead and take that out of play, and we're going to solder the new battery in. Okay. So the battery will be situated this way. Okay, just carefully lay it down, and I'm gonna get a little close on the battery so you can see. Okay, so once you get one in, you can actually see when the tin is seeping through that the connection is made. Okay, now we work to the last connector. All right, for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and actually put a little more solder paste right here. Inject some solder paste in. This area. And then all right. So now the battery has been replaced. Okay, let's zoom back out. Now we got the battery in place, and this is the original connector here. Okay. So what we want to do is take the old battery out of the back panel behind the LCD. So this is the battery that we're taking out. Just pry it out carefully. There's going to be some adhesive holding it. Okay. So we peel it out. Okay. And we can actually rest the battery behind on this one. Let's go ahead and test the LCD out. Make sure the power button works. So we carefully connect the LCD back. Okay. And now we're gonna go ahead and connect the digitizer back. These things are tiny, so be very careful. We want it to have a clip, so I'm going to flip this over. We're just going to test this out, power it on. See, the battery works, but as you notice, it needs a little charge, but we do know that this works. So we can go ahead and put it back together now. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and disable this for now, and I'll show you how to run the wires back in. Okay. So want to go ahead and pull these wires in. We're putting the LCD to connect to the digitizer. As you can see, there's adhesive holding it. Okay. So now have that all well rested. And what we need to do is actually reuse the adhesive down here. So we're going to use SGX. All right, so we're going to use my patent pending SGX glue.
You said patent pending?
We'll use my SGX glue. Digitizer seal on it. You can get it from my link below from my website to reapply. And ignore all the trolls in the background, people, because they are just jealous that I have a YouTube video. So if you agree, just like this and share with your friends, and follow hashtag Vila is Harry. Okay, on my Twitter. And if I get 20,000 Twitter thing on Vila is Harry, I will post another video and show you what Vila looked like. All right. So let's go ahead and put the connectors in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the LCD connector first. You're working with something really small here, so you definitely do need a lot of patience. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this in. Okay, LCD connector in. Now let's put the digitizer connector in. Okay, and you notice that we soldered, and so these, you have metal back here and you have an open solder joint, so you really don't want that. So what you want to do now is go ahead and put some more of my special SGX glue, and then we're going to use Kapton tape to shield off the solder joint. The battery back in place, rest it in. Okay, and slowly slide the connector back on. Okay. So we connect it back into place. Okay, so what we need to do, once you have everything up and running, test the screen out. Right here. Power up the phone. Power the iPod. And so what we need to do now that okay, so you can see once the digitizer is in place, what we need to do is adhesive SGX is applied to it. What you're going to need is to add tape to hold the digitizer in place until it cures. So you just get your regular good old Scotch tape and just wrap it around tightly around the frame. Okay. Now you need to make sure is that everything is nice and flush, like this, and then just let it cure for about an hour or two. All right, so it's been over an hour now. Let's go ahead and take the tape out. Okay. So now play on and off here, and then you have pretty much a fully functioning iPod Nano. This is Prac with iRepairMD. Safe repair.